everybody, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Victoria. I am a 23-year-old woman of transgender experience, and I make mostly LGBT content here on YouTube. If that's your thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so that you never miss out on a new upload. If you're unfamiliar with me and my story, I transitioned at age 14. I am now 23, so it's been almost 10 years. Super exciting. I know. And when I transitioned, there was really even less information out there than there is now about transitioning. And there are a few things that I wish I had known, or things that I wish people had told me before transitioning. Before I get into this video, I want to say a couple things. First of all, I get comments sometimes saying like life is about more than just gender, and like why are all your videos about gender? I know that. That's like commenting on a gardening YouTube with being like, there's more to life than plants. It's just kind of what this channel is about. Second off, I will say these are things that I wish I knew before going into transition, but in no way is this me saying I hate myself or that I transitioned wrong. And lastly, before I jump into this video, if you are new here, you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. While you're here, you might as well give this video a big thumbs up. It helps support my channel so much, and join the family, as well as follow all the links in the description so you can follow me all across social media. Join the family, and without further ado, let's jump on into this week's video. So first up on my list of things that I wish I knew before transitioning is about hormones. So of course, when you start HRT or hormone replacement therapy, you are going to go through all sorts of different changes. You are quite literally going through a second puberty. So there's going to be a lot going on. And what I wish I knew going into it is that more so than the physical changes, of course, you might fill out, you might look different, you might get softer. The biggest change that you're going to notice is actually internal, and it's going to be mental. Estrogen just feels so much different than testosterone in your body. I don't know how to describe it. If you're a trans girl, comment down below and let me know if you kind of know what I'm saying. Like, it just physically feels different. You will notice, especially in the first year, a lot of changes in mood. You might have mood swings. You might get more emotional for no reason. You might kind of feel motherly. You might have a big change in sex drive. Your body is reacting to a large influx of estrogen, and typically that happens when you are pregnant or PMSing, so your body goes through a lot of intense changes. Think of yourself as a moody, pubescent teenager, because you seriously are just going through puberty again, and I'm so sorry, but puberty is never fun. And I knew that going in, but no one can really prepare you because everyone's experience is going to be different. I will say, on top of any kind of mental distress that you might experience transitioning and starting hormones, it is not all bad, because the biggest thing that I noticed is sort of this like this sigh of relief feeling that you are, at least once you get on hormones, you're not taking steps backwards. You know, you're no longer progressing as the incorrect sex. Yes, there are a lot of emotional things that are going to happen in the first year of starting hormones, but overall it's such a rewarding process. You're finally making real advancements, and it makes all those mood swings and aches and awkward phases totally worth it. The next thing I wish I knew before a transition, this one might be kind of dark, but I wish I had really known and been prepared for the sexualization that is often placed on trans people, and especially trans femmes, from really any age. Transition is in no way a sexual thing, but because it's so taboo and so not talked about in so many societies, that's why if you are really a parent to any young child, but especially the parent of a young queer person, it's so important to maintain an open line of communication with your child. It's important to be somebody that your child can come to, because they might be alone and vulnerable and looking for some sort of validation. That really leaves the door open to potential predators or people that would take advantage of that. Like I said earlier, I transitioned at age 14, and I've talked about this in previous videos. At that age, in the eyes of others, I went from being a feminine gay boy to being a trans woman. I resent that because I resent the sexualization that is placed on trans femmes, the cultural stereotype that we are inherently sexual beings, that we are sex workers, that we're transitioning for sexual attention. This is absolutely not true, but because this is placed upon us, we are more susceptible to creeps, really. And this phenomena isn't exclusive to queer youth. It applies to you in any way that you might be more niche or different from those around you, be it your size, your ethnicity, your religion, your ability. There are all sorts of reasons why people get fetishized, but I think I just wasn't really prepared for that big step from being perceived as a young boy to a fully sexually matured woman. So before transition, I wish I had fully understood just how sought out trans women are sometimes, so that I could protect myself and my heart from creeps and chasers. On a lighter note, the next thing that I wish I knew before transitioning is that you are going to go through an awkward phase. I promise. I know it sucks. But there's no way that anyone can really like just go from day to night. There's always that transition, baby. It takes some time. You all have to put in your dues in order to look better. Although, I mean, I don't know, because I see like friggin' middle schoolers that are looking like Kylie Jenner when I looked like iCarly. But whatever age you transition at, it's very likely that you might have to sort of play catch up with the cisgender girls around you, be it your makeup, your style, the way you hold yourself, your hair, things like that. The things that those girls were encouraged to explore and build their skill set in, we were likely discouraged to. So now it's on us to, in, you know, a week, a year, whatever, start getting all these skills. So it can be really overwhelming, and there's going to be an awkward phase. Becoming a woman or becoming a man is not an overnight thing. You know, I worked hard for my womanhood, and I earned my womanhood. I was always a woman inside. I was always identified as female and as a girl, but I think the experiences and the trials and tribulations that I went through got me to where I am now, and I've earned my title as a woman, if that makes sense. I am in no way policing anyone's womanhood. If you're a woman, you're a woman, whatever. I'm saying in my experience, it took me a lot of time and experience and self-exploration and journeys to become the woman that I am today. You're gonna wanna experiment with different voices, different styles, different hairstyles, different colors, different clothes, as you should. But that is why transitioning from male to female, taking that step to come out and get on hormones and all of that, is really the first step in a very long process. So I wish I had known that, yes, transitioning made me feel a lot more confident and comfortable in my own body. But even transitioning at the ripe young age of 14 still meant that I had a lot of catching up to do. It is literally a second puberty, so be prepared to go through all of those same awkward phases. Another thing I wish I had known before transitioning is the way that you will be perceived in the dating world. It's tough to date as a trans woman for so many reasons. Like I said earlier in the video, we are often very fetishized, and that can leave the door open to people like chasers who might fetishize us just for that one part that we may or may not have between our legs. It's one thing to be trans attracted, another thing to only seek trans women out for that one thing and not want to be seen in public with them, not want to bring them home to your mom, things like that. And that's something that many trans women, myself included, have experienced. I myself am bisexual, so I have dated men and women, and there are definitely struggles in dating in either gender pool as a trans person. When I dated men, I feel like men have this stigma around being with a trans woman, where I would highly recommend you watch Disclosure on Netflix if you've not already seen it. But they talk a lot about the trans panic, right? The sort of like the idea of a trans person tricking a man into sleeping with him and then being like, oh, by the way, I'm a man, like on Jerry Springer. It's false, and it's a joke that's at trans people's expense, and it puts us in physical danger. There have been a lot of times where they were not okay with it, and I had missed out on, actually no, I didn't miss out on anything. They missed out on a great experience with me. I feel like a lot of the times lesbians are actually more interested in the actual vagina than men are. I feel like men sort of can get over it easier. Like, I've dated many straight men with no issue that have never dated a trans person before or after me, or that are perfectly straight. And I mean, I still had a hole, do you know what I mean? Like, but I do think it's actually in a lot of ways more difficult. It's safer in my opinion, but more emotionally difficult dating in a lesbian relationship as a trans woman pre-op. That's just my experience. That's just my experience. Don't come at me in the comments. I know some people feel differently. I've had many relationships before surgery with women. I'm just saying, no matter what, even after surgery, it's still something that you're gonna have to bring up, and that kind of sucks. I wish I had known going into it that it's always gonna be something that I have to wonder if they know already, or get ready to tell somebody, or tell a friend. I'm not saying any of this to scare you. I've had many great dating experiences. I've been really lucky in that sense, but I wish I had known a couple things. One being how fetishized trans people are, and sometimes people might really tell you that they care about you and they very well might not. But I also wish that I knew my value. You know, back when I was younger, I was so dysphoric and I didn't have all the surgeries that I wanted, so I just felt like I didn't deserve pleasure, or I didn't deserve someone that loved me because I didn't love myself. So I wish I had had my standards higher, to at least be with someone that wanted to be with me, to at least be with someone that liked me. Like, oh my God, I've always had so much love to give, and thankfully now I'm in a wonderful relationship where he also has so much love to give, and we're just in a wonderful, loving relationship. But I have been that person giving and giving and giving. And I think trans women are more susceptible to lowering our standards, even if we're kind of that bitch. So I wish I had known just how murky but exciting the dating pool can be for trans people. Last on my list today of things that I wish I knew before transition is, Matilda Hodberg actually talked about this on her channel. I wish that I had known that no matter how many hormones or surgeries or years that I put into a transition, you will never ever be cisgender, and that's okay. But even getting all those procedures and going through all of that doesn't erase your history of being a trans person. My goal when I started my transition was really to blend in as much as possible, to really just become a cis woman, basically, to sort of deny the whole LGBT community. I didn't even like being around trans people because I felt uncomfortable that I was gonna be outed. I was certainly not gonna make a channel all about being transgender. I was just planning on being stealth. And while yes, I do fit in fine in cisgender female spaces, I do pass as a cisgender woman, and I do, for the most part, live stealth in my day-to-day life. I mean, I don't walk into this grocery store and tell people that I'm trans. I'm comfortable in the fact that I will always be a trans woman, and that's not something to be ashamed of. Being transgender does not make me any less of a real woman in my eyes or in the eyes of anybody who matters. However, my trans experience is a valuable one, and I'm very grateful for the experiences and the strides that I've made to become who I am today. Do I wish I could go back in time and change my genetic makeup to be a cisgender woman? Yeah, of course I do. But I'm so grateful for the experience that I have. It is such an important puzzle piece, an important piece to have in the mosaic that is your life. If I wasn't transgender, I wouldn't have the friends that I have. I wouldn't have the partner that I have. I probably wouldn't be here right now. I likely wouldn't have this channel. I get comments sometimes from people saying that they watch my videos when they're feeling suicidal. And that just warms my heart so much, because for so long I was never gonna talk about being trans. I was just gonna suppress it as much as possible. I was gonna try and live stealth. I didn't want to make anything public, but I'm so happy that I'm at a point now where I'm not only not ashamed of being transgender, but I'm proud of it, and I can help all of you feel proud of the strides that you've made to be who you are. It is impressive to have the confidence to make such a large life change, and it's a life experience that's very valuable and most people don't get to experience. So yeah, I wish I had known going into it that not only is being transgender never going to be erased, but it's actually something that you don't want to erase because it's what made you who you are today. Okay, everybody, those are some of the things that I wish I knew before transitioning. There are a lot more things that I kind of wish I had known and would have made my transition a lot smoother, but that would be for a whole other video. So if you want to hear more of these things, leave me a comment down below. I'm super interested to hear all the things you have to say. Let me know also some things that you wish you knew before transitioning. I link all my social media in the description box down below. I'm so much more active on there, so if you want to participate in some live streams, some Q&As, anything like that, make sure that you give me a follow on there, especially Instagram. I am also available on WISIO at wisio.com/Victoria Rose. I will link that in the description box down below. If you have any questions, comments for me, and you want a video response, sort of like a cameo or giving my advice, click that link in the description. I am actually having so much fun filming them. You are all amazing. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end, and until I see you next Wednesday, good luck. I love you. Bye.